Welcome to Living Divinely, the Divine Oasis podcast. I'm your host, Amber Janae, founder and editor-in-chief of Divine Oasis. Bi-weekly, I use this platform to dissect what it means to live a well-lived life by exploring ways that we can create space for ourselves through intentionality, truth, love, and authenticity. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Living Divinely podcast. I'm your host, Amber Janae, and as always, it is such a joy to have you join me today and just me being able to create another episode for all of you. Wherever you are in the world, I'm incredibly grateful for your love and support of the podcast. I personally just want to thank you because I genuinely love this platform and this space that I've created for all of us, because it is a space where I get to share stories and insights that inspires us all and supports us all collectively to becoming the best version of ourselves and promoting change and growth. So I'm incredibly grateful for the podcast. Today's episode is something that is really near and dear and close to my heart, and I think it's going to resonate with so many of you. We are going to dive deep into the concept that is, one, very empowering, and two, that I think is transformative. I want to talk today about that age-old saying, your gift will make room for you. There have been so many things that I've witnessed or personally experienced over the last few weeks and even months that really made me want to touch on this subject. And when things first started trickling into my life, I was like, maybe or maybe not. And then I started to draft up just an outline for the episode. I kind of shelved it thinking that I was going to talk about something else. And then I completed it and still waited to record the episode. And then what confirmed it for me last night, a coworker of mine, we literally just did an event together. And a few days after the event, he posted on his story just a scenic view. And no joke, the caption on that photo was, your gift will make room for you. And that's what sealed the deal. This is exactly why I'm recording this episode finally, because I saw that last night and I felt like that was a confirmation from God. But one of the biggest things that has put me in this mental space of wanting to just touch on this subject was witnessing Usher perform at the Super Bowl recently. His halftime performance at the age of 45 was just something so beautiful to witness. Not that you're super old at 45, but I think that as an entertainer, somebody that has been performing and in the limelight since they were 14 years old, to get up there and perform the way he did, like that was his first time doing it, and he hadn't been doing this for years. It was something very incredible to witness. Like, I grew up listening to Usher. My mom used to drive us around on the weekends with his first album blaring in the car. Me and one of my older cousins and all of her friends, we would gather in the living room in front of the TV and do the choreography from all the videos that were released when the My Way album was big. Usher is a big staple in my family, and now I'm exposing my son to his music, listening to it often. So I talked a little bit about this just recently on TikTok, but I had come across a video of like some behind the scene footage of his halftime show and the whole rehearsal process leading up to the big day. And something that he said really resonated with me. As he was talking, he said something to the effect that he believes that we are all born with a unique gift or talent, but the talents and gifts that we are born with also have their own individual timing, or we're all on our own individual timing. Something to that effect. I know I'm not saying it verbatim, but it resonated with me. And this to me was just a reminder that while we are all incredibly gifted and blessed, that God has given us a gift or a talent. The timing on when that gift will take us to new levels and new heights in life is not determined by the success of others. It is not determined by our own individual ideas of what success look like, but it's merely based on divine timing. Yes, it still means that even through divine timing, we have to do the work in order to see our dreams and visions come to pass and come to life. But just because you work tirelessly for 2 years straight on an idea that came to mind, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed the outcome that you desire the very next year. It happens that way sometimes, but that's not how it's always meant to be. And it's my personal belief that our gifts and our talents are meant to be enjoyed and experienced and shared with the world. And it's a blessing to be able to do that. When we put too much emphasis on being in the limelight and obtaining X amount of money or X amount of success, we take away the purity and the blessing of being gifted with the opportunity to do something that we love and do something that we love on a consistent basis. We put restraints and time limits on our art and creativity when really our gifts and art are meant to be experienced and felt and not quantified by the unrealistic expectations that we set on them. We're often always in search of like this end goal, this magical destination. We are like these little leprechauns on like this endless search of the gold at the end of every rainbow. And then we often wonder why we lose the spark and the love for our art and our creativity. I love that now I'm starting to see an influx of people post to Twitter and say like, you know, or just on social media in general, like not everything that you do needs to be monetized. And sometimes the gifts that we have are meant to be sacred and meant to be kept to ourselves. And other times it's meant to be shared with the world. But I think it's important to remember that whatever we do and however we're putting our gifts or sharing our gifts to the world, that we don't determine how it plays out. The work that we do plays a big role in it. But at the end of the day, we have this idea of how things should be and how success should look. And in this world where, you know, purpose and direction can often feel elusive, it's so easy to find yourself stuck in the cycle of seeking without finding, chasing without attracting. Now I'm thinking about it, just like, what if I were to tell you that the key to breaking free from that cycle lies within you? We hear a lot about the results of inaction when it comes to our pursuit of happiness, our pursuit of our creative ventures, all those things. But when in action, when we're pursuing the things that we want out of life, it's important to not treat our gifts and talents and purpose like we only love it if it's serving us in some way. Because how selfish is that? It's very selfish. You should love to paint regardless of if your paintings or your art is selling or making you money. You should love to sing, rap, or play that instrument regardless of if you have a record deal or not, or people all over the world are listening to your music. Your response to life and doing the work is different once you realize that your gifts and God want to work with you and want to work for you, not against you. This idea, I feel like, sounds crazy to a lot of people. So don't give up on the episode once you hear it. But something I've been thinking about for the last several weeks is, if each and every one of us are born with a unique gift and a purpose that drives us forward, then there has to be some truth in this. And the beautiful truth about this is, when you align with your purpose, when you truly embrace your God-given gifts, doors just miraculously begin to open. The floodgates don't open all at once, but they do begin to open. Opportunities arise. The world makes space for your light to shine. You don't have to chase or force. You just have to show up and do what naturally and organically feels good to you. Think about this for a moment. You've spent so many years of your life in a career field or a job, a relationship, or a lifestyle that doesn't quite fit. Or you're currently in something that no longer aligns with who you are, the person that you're becoming. It's almost like wearing a shoe that's too small. Sure, like you can fit in it, you can walk in it, but it's very uncomfortable. And every step that you take in that shoe that does not fit is a reminder that something's not right, something is off. And you need a bigger size, obviously. Discovering your gift, your purpose, your calling is really the first step to change. It requires a lot of self-introspection. Maybe, you have to go through a few things to figure some things out. I promise you, as I had no idea why I wanted to start writing and journaling and having a blog. I had no idea, but the idea had came to mind. And when I first started, I had this vision, like this was my gateway to do something totally different. And so I started writing and putting my work out there, but always had a different vision in mind. The intention behind it was just me being served, me doing something to serve myself. And it often felt discouraging when doors didn't open or opportunities didn't come my way. And I kind of just had to sit with myself and really think about, one, are you doing this or you want this for all the right reasons? And two, are you checking in with yourself? Are you operating from a space of truth? Are you creating things that are an authentic expression of who you are? And it's really not just about knowing your purpose and knowing who you are and knowing what you are meant to do. It's about living in that truth as well. It's about making choices every day that align with the most authentic version of yourself. I want us all to know that even if you don't believe it, each of us are born with very distinct talents and capabilities that are incredibly unique to us. Everybody may be able to play an instrument, but nobody plays it like you. Everybody may be able to write, but nobody writes the way that you do. There may be tons of photographers in the world, but nobody has the eye that you have. When tapped into, your gifts and your talents can really shape the way the world views and sees, your craft. And I also think that just us choosing to tap into what we know, or what feels authentic to us, it has an incredible effect on personal and communal growth. Your gift, regardless of its nature, holds value, and it has the capacity to influence and inspire. And I don't think we think about that often. Sometimes doing the work is just you being able to shine a light on, the path that you're taking, and that inspiring somebody else to do the same. I just want us all to be mindful that being gifted doesn't always mean that you're meant to be a celebrity, or you're meant to be in the limelight or hold some type of celebrity status. It doesn't always mean that, but it does mean that you should be very comfortable with some level of hyper visibility and exposure. But regardless of your gift, because regardless of your gift, there will be some level of impact on your community in some way, whether that be large or small. I want us to pause for a minute and think about our gifts. I say that, but I want to come back to exposure and visibility in a moment. But let's just pause. Think about what brings you joy. Think about what activities you do that make you feel free in the moment, that makes you feel like time is just flying by and passing you by. Like there's not enough time in a day to do this because you love it so much. Think about those things and think about them often. Because whatever sparks for you, whatever comes up for you, these are your clues. Those are the clues that will lead you on the path to discovering your gift. I think I talked about this a lot in some of the earlier episodes of the podcast. I very vividly remember talking about this before. So if you haven't listened to some of the earlier episodes, I encourage you to do so. But I think for all of us, the moment that you recognize your gift and you start walking in that path and embracing your purpose, something incredible happens. Like something magical just starts to shift in your life. My favorite example of this, my favorite story that I always think about is Miss Tab. And she was just saying, like, she had been doing the work. She had been doing what she was supposed to do for a very long time. And one day she just woke up and decided to go get a sandwich. And she was sitting in her car and she was having that sandwich. And she was just talking about how the sandwich tasted different. Like everything around her looked different, and she knew that her life was about to change. She knew that her life was about to shift. If you haven't seen that video, just go back and watch it, because she was very spot on. In that moment, she just knew that doors were opening for her, and she felt it. And for a lot of us, when you make the choice to start walking in your purpose, opportunities start to align. You meet the right people. You find yourself in places that you never imagined yourself to be in. You start doing work that fills you with meaning, fills you with joy, fills you with excitement. Your gifts, when you choose to act on them, absolutely make room for you. They make room for you in the world. They make room for you in relationships and in ways you may never have anticipated. But oftentimes, that fear of visibility, that fear of being seen, that fear of doing something and not doing it right because other people are doing it and they appear to be more experienced than you are. Like, those are the things that hold us back. And I've shared a lot about my fears of visibility and exposure and my fears of being perceived and everything like that. I feel like in the last episode, I touched on this too. And I want to talk about it a little bit more because as your gift begins to make room for you in life, there's a certain level of comfort with exposure that you need to have. One of the most recent things that I've realized on my journey is that every time I am comfortable with sharing my gifts, my any words of wisdom, or just my presence in general, every time I am comfortable with it, I am opening the doors to collaboration. I am opening the doors for somebody to give me honest feedback and criticism, whether it's good or bad. And I'm often opening the doors for community and support, doing things that I am terrified of. And as soon as I step into that, there's this wave of support and encouragement and applause. Like, things that, no joke, this just happened to me this past week. So, like, I am living in this and experiencing this. And in most cases, learning to embrace walking in your truth and embrace your gifts and doing them on a consistent basis and doing them in a way that exposes you to the world, exposes you to others, looks like embracing vulnerability. You naturally begin to create space when you're vulnerable. You naturally begin to create space for personal and professional growth. And that ultimately allows you to open up your life to new experiences and new connections. And of course, it's natural with all things that we do, big or small. We have to deal with or overcome the fear that we experience. Challenging our fears and being unafraid to share our gifts with the world is probably one of the biggest challenges that we'll have to face. It's totally natural. And I want you to understand this and get comfortable with this, that it is totally natural for you to experience fear. That's normal. But it is what you do when you experience those feelings. It is how you combat that. It is how you challenge that. It's natural to experience, fear of judgment and criticism, especially when it comes to sharing the most vulnerable parts of ourselves with the world. And that's our art, our work, the things that we love, our creativity. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of fear around that. But those fears often prevent you from stepping into your power and exercising your gifts, the gifts that you've been blessed with. And it's a disservice to us. It's a disservice to God. It's a disservice to the community to be trapped by fear of what people will think, simply from you just living in your truth and being your most authentic self. Because really, that's really all it is. That's like a unlock in the midst of recording. You deciding to start that blog, to start that business, to write that book, to record that album, whatever it is, it's literally just you choosing to be your most authentic self. And why are you afraid of that? I want to challenge us all today to focus on reframing how you perceive fear. Challenge yourself to see it not so much as an obstacle, but as a gateway to growth and building connection with others. Each time you dare to step out of your comfort zone, dare to step out of your norm, and to share your gifts and talents with the world, you're not just showcasing your abilities, your talents, and your skills. You're not just doing that. You're also opening up the door for potential collaborations. You're opening up the door to build community. You're sharing things that resonate with others, and that in turn create space for you to build a community that resonates with your passion or your purpose. You just also have no idea who you will inspire in the process. You have no idea who you will inspire to chase after their dreams and do the very thing that you were afraid of, but you fearlessly decided to do. Another important thing to focus on this path and on this journey is patience. Patience and persistence. These are the twin keys to success on this journey. I talk about this a lot, and I just want us to focus on not being so destination driven. Don't be so focused on the outcome. Don't be so focused on getting somewhere that you miss opportunities to learn and experience yourself at your truest form. We get so caught up in feeling like there is a time limit on success that we feel the need to rush the process. And we're living in a state of desperation. And I promise you, living in that state of desperation never really works out the way you want it to. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a buck with all of you and just be honest. A lot of y'all's desire for success or to get to the next level is not rooted in sincerity. What it is actually rooted in, and a lot of that drive that you have, is rooted in revenge. It is rooted in comparison. It is rooted in proving people wrong. And that's why the setbacks and the delays hit so hard, because it's like, damn, I thought I was about to show her up. I thought I was about to prove him wrong for breaking my heart. When your intentions aren't pure, the universe responds to you in a way that humbles you. You can't use your God-given gifts to try to humble and shame others. It never works out in the way you want it to work out. Trust me. Focus on your craft and being patient in the moment, because true patience allows you to appreciate the journey and embrace each moment of learning. Also, persistence is just what fuels your drive and fuels you to keep going and helps you to stay focused on your goals. I want to dive a little bit deeper into persistence real quick, because I spent a lot of time building into the personal growth and mindset mastery curriculum. I spent a lot of time building in the art of mindset shifts and how that plays a huge role in resilience and persistence. Like, one of the big learning keys and takeaways in the personal mindset, the personal growth and mindset mastery workbook and digital course was learning how to navigate in a way that helps you challenge any obstacles that come your way. Let's just be real for a second. Like, pursuing our goals is a challenge in itself. Pursuing anything, whether it's a new job, branching out on your own, creating something for the first time, it's a challenge. And it's often riddled with no's, self-doubt, doubt from others, constant rejection and judgment. Like, persistence is what carries you through all of that. You have to teach yourself to develop tough skin, because it is your resilience that is going to be what urges you to press on and press forward and keep pushing, even when faced with rejection or criticism. Persistence is the determination to act. Persistence is the determination to apply that negative feedback, whether it was well-deserved or not, Apply it. Apply your learnings and all of what you gain to each each setback, because that is what is going to push you forward. And oftentimes these things are what pushes us forward with a renewed focus and respect for our craft, a respect for our art, and respect and focus in new waves of energy, a new surge of determination and commitment to that path forward. It's about not losing sight of your goals, even when the path becomes challenging or that road just feels too steep to keep climbing. It's persistence that carries you, your resilience. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to carry this with you. It is not on you, it is in you. Your gift, your purpose, your light, your art, your craft, it is not just a part of you. It is the key to a life that is filled with fulfillment. It is filled with intentionality, truth, authenticity, joy, and impact. Start where you are. Don't worry about it looking perfect. Don't worry about you being perfect. Start where you are. Use what you have and do what you can. Trust that as you continue to walk in your truth and step in your purpose, that the world will not only make room for you, but will welcome you, and will welcome you with open arms. That's our episode, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if today's episode resonated with you, please, please, please be sure to share it with a friend, someone who, like you, is on the path to self-discovery, healing, or just simply learning to embrace their true self. Until next time, keep shining, keep seeking, keep dreaming, keep growing, and above all, keep believing in the power of your gifts and your light. See you all on the next episode.